Welcome back to Welsh Miniature Board Gamer, and this is my monthly review of what I managed to get painted. So most of the things I got painted this month are things that you would have already seen if you've watched my channel that I've previewed. In fact, I think only one of these miniatures you wouldn't have already seen, so just a heads up that it may not be that much of a surprise to you if you follow my channel. But first of all, we got these Oathmark I suppose they're Goblin command group. It's like the musician and the champion and a wizard. So yeah, sort of a typical sort of command set of miniatures. And I really like them. They're made of metal, and yeah, I think the sculpts are really nice and really clean. I've painted them up so they look very much like the Orcs or Goblins that I painted up previously from the light infantry, Goblin slaves, whatever they call it, from the Oathmark kit. So this is the wizard, was like a sorcerer, shaman, whatever you want to call him. And then we have the champion or king or chieftain, whatever. But yeah, they painted up really nice, and I enjoyed painting these guys an awful lot. So next we have the one miniature that you wouldn't have seen because I've opened this box up ages ago. It's just I'm finally getting around to painting it. So this, of course, is a scout trooper on his speeder bike for Star Wars Legion, or at least it's made for that game. I would never play that game because it just seems a bit weird, and it's to a scale that I'm not that used to and not really that interested in using. But still, the miniature's quite nice, and even though I may not ever use him, it's quite nice to paint up a speeder bike, being a fan of the Star Wars franchise, or at least I was. So then we have some of the Firefly miniatures. So this is Inara, played by Marina Baccarin. See, I did remember it this time. If you go back and look at the video of me reviewing this set, I had a complete meltdown trying to pronounce her name, and at one point I think she was called the Macarena. Yeah, using speed paints for the dress, and then highlighted up with more standard opaque painting, etc. The face details are, like as you can see on this one, not great, and maybe me trying to highlight it has made it look a little bit haggard, I would say. But yeah, it's okay paint job. I'm not gonna, lose sleep over it because these are for a board game after all. So here is Shepherd Book. And then nice sculpts of Shepherd Book. This one especially, you can definitely tell that is the late Ron Glass. Maybe not some of this guy. This kind of looks a little bit generic-ish face, but the other one, yeah, definitely I can see the likeness to the actual actor who played Shepherd Book. So yeah, I quite enjoyed painting those up, seeing that Firefly is my favourite fantasy program, so yeah, of course I enjoyed that. So these next ones are all from the Wargames Atlantic Conquistadors. Some of them are kit bashed, and some of them are the standard, what you get in the box type thing. So yeah, if you want to see which ones are which, maybe go back into my previous videos and you'll see me going through them, explaining what parts are from what miniatures. But generally speaking, I've really enjoyed painting these guys up. They, I get to use nice bright coloured red and yellow, which is my sort of Ghost Archipelago Frostgrave crew colours. So, I paint them up so they can be used in that, but of course they can be used in Mordheim or any other game which uses this sort of that Reichland, Marienburg, that sort of, whatever they call them in that sort of style. They can be used in Frostgrave as well. And indeed, I tried to keep the weapons sort of Frostgrave adjacent anyway, so yeah. Or even Rangers of Shadow Deep. So this guy, yeah, is a bit more armoured, a bit more He's looking a bit more sort of knightly or Templarish, if you like, but he's still got the red and yellow to signify which crew he belongs to, which is quite quite easy then to spot who's your people and who's your opponents. Or if you're playing Rangers of Shadow Deep, just give them standing out from the rank and file of the enemy, maybe. So yeah, I haven't painted an awful lot this month, but I've painted up all the things that I reviewed, obviously, because that's what I always do. I like to review painted subjects and not just the blank plain plastic. Apart from that, what else have I been up to? I watched the Deadpool versus Wolverine movie. Must say I was quite disappointed with that. I don't know about anybody else, but I was hoping for a little bit more. Felt more like skits put together than an actual movie, which is a bit unfortunate, but there you go. I try and not go into these films now with high hopes, I just kind of thing. It's probably going to be disappointing, but I'll watch it and hopefully it's not. So this guy looks more like a commander to me, I've made him more like the proper sort of conquistador, raiding the Spanish Americas, etc. And yeah, I really like him. I think he looks the part and could play a captain or a hero. Same with this guy, he's got very much that sort of captain look, and I actually did a bit of green stuff work with his cloak, which is not something I do very often, but when I do it, I quite enjoy it. Not that I would try and do anything too drastic or anything, because I know my skills are not to that level. Other things I've been watching this month, I'm catching up on actually Star Trek Voyager from ages ago. I started watching and I sort of lost interest back in the day, but I've actually sat through it and I'm nearly on the end of the series, and I must admit, it's not as bad as I remembered it. I think maybe because we've had some average Star Trek since then, it's kind of standing out as, it's not a bad one actually. I'm not saying it's a Deep Space Nine or a Next Generation or whatever, but it's not bad at all. I think the trouble is it came out after those two and Voyager even, and I think people were kind of like expecting a lot from it, and it couldn't quite live up to the hype that people had in their head for Star Trek. So yeah, and I think it failed to have a really strong baddie. Like at the moment with the new Star Treks, everybody wants an ongoing strong baddie, etc. And until the Xindi really turned up, there wasn't really anything like that. So that's my opinion on Voyager. I thought it was a pretty okay series actually. Just maybe not what most people were looking for. It was more like the original Star Trek series more than Deep Space Nine, etc. And then we got this guy with a sword and shield, and looking like a infantryman. And I really enjoyed painting these. I like painting these sort of ruffles. I think that burst of colour really sort of stands out and makes them look different to sort of the regular fantasy miniatures, which every board, every table has got. These guys actually do look a little different because they have these bright colours, and that's quite cool. So all in all, I painted up 20 miniatures this month, and that's not a bad total. I would have liked to paint some more, but life getting in the way, etc., and everything. So that's about it from me this month. It's going to be, if you want to leave a like, you can leave a like. If you want to comment, you can leave a comment, and I always answer every comment on my videos. If you want to see more from me, maybe even subscribe. But until next time, it's going to be goodbye from me, Welsh Miniature Board Game.